reality sets in, and we're here.
Respect isn't given, it's earned in blood.
Boxing King Media, delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn ahead of a couple of mad weeks that are coming up. You've had a bit of time off. You're fresh and ready to go.
Yeah, I feel good actually. It's been a bit weird having like a couple of weeks off, bit of downtime, and then had a few days in Dubai with AJ, and then Riyadh with Turkey unexpectedly, but that was good. And next week, massive week for the company, really. I mean, Sheffield, which has gone just beyond our wildest dreams with Dave Allen, and a massive night in Philadelphia with Jaron Ennis moving up to 154, and then the madness of even York Hall the week after, Lidard against Conway, great fight, great card. And then, of course, Ben Eubank coming up, Orlando. We'll be announcing November 29th show shortly, Riyadh on the 22nd, Monaco December 6th, we'll announce shortly. Another show December 13th, and then, yeah, it's like just a crazy run now to the end of the year.
You're always talking about being a global promoter, and I was thinking the other day, you've obviously got two big shows on the same night, and a lot of people have been talking about you choosing to be in Philadelphia, etc. But I wanted to highlight the fact that you've got two shows on in different parts of the world on the same night. Genuinely speaking, is there any other promoter doing that right now worldwide?
No, thank you. That's very nice of you. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm not mad on it, because you know me, I'd just love to be at every show. And this has been very difficult, particularly because you will see in 2026, we are doubling down in the United States of America. And Jaron Ennis is like the figurehead of our American business. He is the guy that I believe will go on and be the pound for pound king of the sport. So I'd already made my decision to be in Philadelphia probably like 2 months ago when we announced the show. But I have to be honest, I didn't expect not just the ticket sales for Dave Allen against Makhmudov, but the general adoration for this guy and the anticipation and the excitement of this show in Sheffield. So, yeah, I'm gutted that I can't be at both, to be honest with you. But, you know, I made my call early on. I stick by that, and I'll be glued to the screen. I'll tell you, a great show. Not just Dave Allen against Makhmudov, but Junaid against Fawaz rematch, Padley against Bellotti, loads more as well. So, yeah, I can't wait for next week.
A word on Jaron Ennis. You know, I've seen you invest in a lot of American fighters, and some have obviously kind of made the money and seems like they've gone elsewhere. What made Jaron Ennis stay, in your opinion?
He is like no one else I've worked with in America in the respect of legacy chasing, trusting, smart is the other line. And he has his plan. You know, when we talk about TKO and stuff like this, Jaron Ennis has one thing in his mind: trying to be the greatest fighter of our generation. And that comes with winning championship belts, unifying the division, moving up into other weight classes. I mean, this guy, you know, he turned down a huge amount of money to fight in Riyadh season because he wanted to fight in Philadelphia. We had his plan. You know, he wants to win this fight. Then he wants to fight Virgil Ortiz. Then he wants to unify the division at 154. Then he wants to move to 160. Like, he has it all mapped out in his head. And he trusts us. He believes in us. And so far, so good. And, you know, we'll have another probably 10,000 close in Philly for the Lima fight. And this isn't an easy fight. You know, anyone that knows Lima knows how good he is, knows how dangerous he is. But as Sam Jones said, you know, who's been out in camp with him because Jack's out there, he said, Ed, I've been watching this guy spar. I've just never seen anything like it. And I've seen all these fighters up close. This is just another level. And I'm so confident that this guy is going to be pound for pound number one over the next 12 to 24 months. And we're right behind him. And
with regards to Dave Allen, jumping back across to the UK show, I understand if we're talking about the hypothetical situation, Dave wins, people are talking about potential fights for him. But I understand if Makhmudov wins, I'm pretty sure Frank Smith told me this, that you'd have options on him, which is normal in this sort of scenario. What would you do with Makhmudov if he won?
Depends on the fight. I mean, if it was a great fight, we'd probably run it back. to be honest with you. Give Dave another opportunity. I mean, generally in the game, in the business, when you provide someone with a great chance, you would take what's known as options on them. So they win, you essentially have a promotional deal with them. So that's mainly there to protect your fighter and to give him an option at least of a rematch. It's not a rematch clause specifically within this contract. It's just if we wanted to do the rematch, we could do the rematch if it made commercial sense to everybody. But you know, the winner of this fight is going to put himself in a position for big fights. That's why Makhmudov's taking it, and that's why Dave Allen's taking it. You know, Dave Allen could have fought Fraser Clark or TKV, but he's like, no, if I beat this guy who's well known on the world stage, I might land a Wilder, or you know, I was just saying a Fury or an AJ. Like, because of the commercial draw of Dave Allen now, he puts himself in line for all of those fights because he's a great dance partner. And I've told him this week, you know, we've been talking a lot, and I want to just, and he's fine, he's up for it, but I want to just get in his head about what's on the other side of these trenches, because he's going to have to go to horrible places next Saturday. And I just want him to know that if he comes out of those places, then he's really going to, he's already changed his life, but he's going to really, you know, I was joking with myself, I just want you to have a fucking big 7-figure mansion with big electric gates out the front. You know, I would just love that. Wouldn't it be a great feeling to see Dave Allen on Instagram Live, like out, you know, out on the drive. Fucking hell, look at these gates. Wow, this is unbelievable. Look at me motor over there. Look. And I just think it's such a feel-good story. And that's why I think the public are so, like, I look now at my numbers when I post about Dave Allen. They're massive. Massive. I mean, we're going to have over 8,000 in there. And he keeps saying it's the biggest show I've ever done in Sheffield. Not quite. Wood Warrington did 8,700 or something, and Brooke Hatton about the same. But basically, it's right up there. I mean, this is right up there with the biggest fight and show in Sheffield in the last 15 years. And how good that Dave Allen's doing that. It's mental.
Well, I can assure you, you can get that kind of house that you're describing. You could get them for 6 figures in Yorkshire. Not
Yeah, but imagine a 7-figure one.
Yeah, crazy. I was looking at Dave's record. There's been 2 occasions where he's been the home fighter signed to the promotion and he's headlined. And both times he's won by knockout. I don't know if you know that or not. This will be the 3rd one.
What was the other one? So Lucas Brown.
And Johnny
Fisher. Yeah, true. Yeah.
3rd time. So
yeah, look, I'm very nervous for him. I've got to be honest. Like, and I think one of the things that people love about him is, you know, when he's on Instagram Live and he's just saying, I'm actually shitting myself a little bit because I might get flattened next week. Who says that? You know, most people just say, I can't lose. Oh, I've camped my life. Oh, but Dave's like, I'm very aware that I might get sparked out inside 3 rounds, but I think I can win. And this is going to be a horrible, gruesome fight. But I truly believe that the mindset Dave's in, the shape he's in, he can win this fight. And there'll be mad scenes in Sheffield if he wins this fight.
And just a quick mention, the fight I'm really looking forward to, the undercard, you mentioned it earlier, Junaid Boston, Al Fawaz. I think the thing that struck out to me is what Junaid said in the face-off. He said something about he didn't train properly, or he didn't give it 100%. Does that concern you from a young fighter doing that early in his career? This is a question I'm going to ask you when I speak to him next week.
Yeah, not if you learn from it. You know, I mean, I think that sometimes you can think you're doing the right things, but it's only when you get beat or you really start strip it back, or you start making improvements and adjustments that you think, fuck me, I was actually miles off the pace. I've known so many fighters that have lost and then gone to a whole nother level in camp and preparation and thought, I was actually playing at the game before. I believed I was doing the right things, but this is a crunch fight. Like, if Junaid wants to go to that next level, start fighting for British titles, start, you know, making that big money, he has to come through fighters like Fawaz. Yeah. And Fawaz is a good fighter. I think he's a guy that could win a British title, but that's his level, right? Great guy, great personality. But if you don't beat him, you're not going anywhere near world level. So Junaid has to win this fight. And he you know, and it's not going to be easy because Fawaz is tricky. And Fawaz has got big heart. And Fawaz wants to change his life. So it's actually a fascinating rematch. It was very close last time. And it ain't going to be one-sided either way, this fight.
Definitely not. And yeah, fans can watch both shows on DAZN on Saturday night, next Saturday, should I say. A couple of other things. We saw you posing with the main man Turki in Saudi last week. We've seen Ben Shalom doing it next week. Is Frank Warren doing it next week?
I don't know, maybe. I mean, like, I think the one thing with Turkey is he wants to actually support everybody.
Mm.
Like, no matter whether you're flying high or you're battling away or wherever you are. And that's why people say to me, "Oh, are you concerned that he'll just work with TKO?" He'll never do that, in my opinion. Like, obviously, I've got a sponsorship deal. Ben's got a sponsorship deal. Queensbury got a sponsorship deal. Oscar's got a sponsorship deal. Top Rank have got a sponsorship deal. And he spreads around the love to make sure that he supports the industry. So if he wanted to just cut everybody off at around the neck, he could try and do that. He wouldn't do that by giving them money in a sponsorship deal. So, I think that should be appreciated, and it is appreciated. I know. My meeting was about that as well, but also about snooker and darts, which we've just done a deal be announced soon, and of course AJ as well. Look, I mean, he wants AJ Fury. I mean, it's no secret. It's the biggest fight to be made in boxing, and he wants to make the biggest fights in boxing. So whether we can get there or not, from our side, I'm quite hopeful. But a lot will be down to Tyson Fury and what he wants to do.
Has he said if there's any conversations happening with Tyson?
I believe so. I mean, Spencer Brown, Frank Warren, to be honest, like, we'll do our deal. And then it's just up to Turkey if he can do his deal with Tyson. And that's the unique thing of this model is it's not me phoning up Frank and Spencer or Tyson saying, it's this money, it's this money. Leave that to Turkey. He's got a very good track record of doing it. And I'm confident he'll make the fight.
Got a hypothetical question for you. I was reading about this legal case Ben Shalom's got going on with Sky, John Wish, etc. One of the bits I read is which I think is kind of been proven, is that John was sending emails to Sky execs about doing something with Sky should Ben's contract end. Hypothetically speaking, would you have done what Ben Shalom's done if that was happening behind the scenes?
Difficult question because I don't really know enough about the case. I mean, what I can tell you is John Wishausen worked for Matchroom for 20 years. The last thing that John Wishausen is slippery. Do you know what I mean? Very good operator, very honest man. I think if you got a character reference from anybody in boxing, they would say exactly the same thing.
That is very true. Everyone I spoke with.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about it. Obviously it's very messy, very stressful, and very expensive for everybody and very time consuming. Unfortunately, when you're in boxer's position, you're trying to fight and hold on and that will include, the flag in the sand on legal cases and it could well ruin you because I've never been in their position, but I know that I've worked with people that are just adamant to just keep going, and next thing they're just these legal fees. They're a brutal experience, especially when you're up against someone. Obviously John's different, but if you're up with someone that will go till the end, then I'm not sure what the end game is of this action, but I'm sure there's a plan.
Ben Whittaker, what's the latest on him? Because I saw him post some pictures the other day, and I'm sure you was in one of them.
Yeah.
Frank Smith. I don't know if that was like some sort of hint or what, but can you give us any update?
No, I mean, look, I think Ben's talking to everybody at the moment. And I think his position is that, he'll want to make a move that's best for his career. From my position, Ben Whittaker would be the greatest signing right now that you could probably make in British boxing. I mean, I know, Moses Atama is a great talent as well, but certainly commercially, I think this guy is the biggest star in British boxing. I think people haven't seen anywhere near the ability of this guy because, people might lean on, a poor performance or poor preparation against Liam Cameron the first time around. Whereas if you know the history, if you know the pedigree, if you know GB, you know that this kid is red fucking hot, So in that respect, when you're talking about a future world champion and someone with a huge profile already, of course, if we're in the market for Ben Whittaker, we'd love to win the race, but who knows what'll happen. He's always said that he wants to sign with Matchroom. So maybe one day we'll make it all come true.
Indeed. Last question for you. I just want to pass on our condolences to the people that were victims of the attack yesterday. And obviously, we've got atrocities going off in Nigeria, Sudan, Middle East, etc. In your opinion, Eddie, how do we get world peace? Bit of a mad question for you to end on, but it's always good to get your opinion.
I mean, to come up with a formula for that, especially on the spot, would be very difficult. I don't know if it's possible, mate, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't, I look at social media particularly, and the way that minds are being polluted right now with information, with lies, with AI. I mean, I'm long in the tooth for a lot of this tech stuff, but sometimes I'll be watching clips of stuff and I'll be like, oh my God. And then you go to the comments, it's like, this is AI. It's like, what the fuck? I've just listened to that for 3 minutes. It's like warping my mind. And now you're telling me it's not even real. I don't even know what to believe. So when you're talking about these atrocities, when you're talking about these wars, when you're talking about these, huge inter-country disputes, I'll be honest with you. One, I don't know enough about them, and two, I don't know what to believe. Do you know what I mean? Because everybody's got their individual opinions. Who's right, who's wrong? I like to read and I like to try and learn about these things, but I also don't really trust anyone at that high level, and I don't know who's doing what for who for what benefit. So I'd just like to kind of remove myself from that and try and concentrate on my own life, but whilst also important not to turn a blind eye to terrible things that are happening around the world. But I just think right now, the problem is the access to information that could be right or wrong, or designed for propaganda use and to manipulate your mind, is definitely something that exists. And I don't really want to be exploited or manipulated or be propaganded into thinking that something, so when actually I don't know enough about it and I could be well off the pace. Bit of a roundabout reply, but I just, I don't know. I mean, all I know is that you should be able to live your life without, the fear of being attacked, or losing your life, losing your home, losing your, and unfortunately the world is a cruel place. And we seem to have become so desensitized to stuff as well. I think that's the biggest thing. And I think social media has done that as well. Like you read about, you could read about an attack, or the next day, everyone's forgotten about it. And it's like, we're on to the next one. And these are things that are happening every day. And they just seem to become normalized within society. Could be, the girl on the bus in New York, could be Manchester, could be Charlie Kirk, could be all of this. And it's like, tomorrow's another day. Oh, there's another one. Oh, well, there's another one, and not like, and I don't know, but, and frightening that things like Charlie Kirk and stuff like that, my daughters are seeing that, like, that, they'll 13 and 15, you got this guy getting shot in the neck with blood pouring out and people screaming, and it's like, what the fuck's going on here? I want you far away from this as possible. I want you to understand society and reality, but I don't want you watching that again and again and again. You got to go to sleep at night and try and live a normal life of a good person, and you're watching content like that, and you ain't searching for that content. Not only is it coming up on Instagram, it's also being WhatsApped to you by 30 other mates. I worry about our generation. I worry about the next generation. There you go.
I think
a longer chat for another day.
You made a very good point there that we're getting manipulated. So that was a good point in a way. But yeah, appreciate your time. All the best. Catch up with you soon.
Soon. Take